Hey, what is up? Happy Black Friday. Not only is it Black Friday, but it's a great day of college football starting at 12 o'clock, just an hour from now. Got some good games all day long, capped off with some rivalry games tonight, most notably Georgia and Georgia Tech. Under the bright lights at Sanford Stadium. Yeah, I don't think Georgia Tech's beating Georgia, although it would be funny. But I'm seeing a lot of people picking Georgia Tech to cover the spread. I think the main reason is that Georgia has a pretty bad record covering the spread throughout the season. But I don't know. Maybe Georgia Tech can keep it close, keep it interesting. We'll see. But at 12 o'clock, we got... let's take a look here. 12 o'clock, we got Oklahoma State and Colorado. Oregon State and Boise State. Boise State favored heavily in that. I don't know. That might be too many points for Boise State. 17.5. Oregon State's not a world beater or anything. They did knock off Washington State. I don't know. That's an interesting one. Minnesota and Wisconsin. Those are all at 12 o'clock. Then, boy, the Egg Bowl at 3:30. Boy, Lane better not lose to Mississippi State. Now, they're favored big time, 24.5. They should win this game pretty easily, honestly. But that is a lot of points. There's a lot of points. So that's really the only game that's really worth watching at the 3:30 slate is the Egg Bowl. And then, of course, like I said, tonight we got Georgia Tech and Georgia. Clean, old-fashioned hate, as they say. Nebraska and Iowa, Utah and UCF to cap it off. I call it the Egg Bowl because the head coach of Ole Miss is an egghead. That's why. I don't know. Maybe it's not a gimme for Ole Miss. You know, I mean, they do have a habit of losing to teams with losing records at home. So, nothing's a gimme for old Lane Kiffin. Kiffin down bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, imagine scheduling 4 nobodies out of conference. Losing to a 4-win team at home, losing to a 500 team, or actually at the time it was a below 500 team, Florida, and then complaining about being in the top 15. He's lucky he's in the top 15. What's he crying about? Yeah, you know what I really like in that game? Forget the spread. I don't think I'll touch the spread in that one. That's a lot of points. But look at the over-under there. That looks like a high number, 61.5. You can say what you want to about Mississippi State, but they do have an offense. They can score. We know Ole Miss has a good offense. They can score. score. So this game might be they might go way over 61.5. It might go into the 70s or 80s. Keep an eye on that. The Chiefs play today? I didn't even know that. Oh my God, how many of you guys saw the Bears game yesterday? What an epic fail that was. They were getting blown out by the Lions at halftime. They fight their way back, have a chance to tie it with over 30 seconds left in field goal range, and somehow let the clock expire without calling a timeout to kick the game-tying field goal. I don't even know. Some people are blaming the head coach. Some people are blaming Caleb Williams. I'm blaming the head coach. He's on the sideline. He sees that the offense is slow getting things together. He should have called a timeout before that ball was snapped. Now Caleb Williams should have done the same thing, but he's focused on making the next play. The head coach is sitting there watching the play clock. He's the one that should have called the timeout. I mean, they're both to blame. But that was an epic blunder there. An epic blunder. What is the best game today? I don't know. I don't know what the closest game will be. I think Oregon State and Boise State's an interesting one. Obviously, Boise State is still trying to make the playoffs. I think Colorado and Oklahoma State's an interesting game coming off the loss for Colorado that basically knocked them out of the Big 12 title game and the playoff chances. Oklahoma State's having a terrible season, but has Colorado, has the wind been taken out of their sails, or are they going to go out there and try to make a statement? I don't know. And then, despite the fact that Georgia's heavily favored, and should be, I think that Georgia and Georgia Tech should be a fun one to watch. I mean, Georgia Tech's got nothing to lose, right? And they're playing decent ball right now, so... Yeah. Connor Stallions, you ding, 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 ding. You are correct, sir. Ding, 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 ding.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah. If Clemson does not make the playoffs and Ole Miss does not make the playoffs, which they won't, the playoff committee, not the playoff committee, the bowl selection committee needs to do the right thing after what Lane Kiffin said about Clemson and the ACC, and put him and put Ole Miss against Clemson in some bowl game. I don't care what bowl game it is or where they play it; doesn't matter. It'll be one of the most watched bowl games that nobody cares about, just based off of that fact alone. So, I don't even care who wins. I just want to see it. Yeah, Nick Saban's been crying about the SEC on game day all year long. All year long. And of course, those bobblehead idiots on the, on the set just nod their head and agree. The thing about Nick Saban on game day is that nobody will disagree with him because he's Nick Saban. So they just, anything he says, they just nod their head and go, oh, yeah, the GOAT. Everything he says is gospel. These idiots really believe that, like, the SEC is, like, 10 times better than every other. Like, they think they're the NFL. It's really weird. And they're not. I mean, have they been the best conference over the past 15 or 20 years overall? Yeah, they have. But they're overinflating how good they are. Yeah, come over. We got plenty of leftovers. We cooked 2 entire Thanksgiving dinners yesterday for 2 different sides of the family. I'll be eating turkey sandwiches for the next week. Probably will be somewhat of a shorter show today, being that it is Black Friday, and I've got to go drag all the Christmas ornaments and Christmas tree and everything out of the garage and do all that today while I'm watching some of these football games. The Big Ten is the best conference this season. We'll get a good chance to see a lot of these interconference matchups in the playoffs with the 12-team playoff. We'll get a little better determination there. Just say no to Christmas lights. Yeah. Well, I wish I could say no to Christmas lights. Believe me. I did help Mrs. Peete cook, yes. But shout out to Mrs. Peete. It was a massive success. I think everybody was happy with the product, if you know what I mean. The fist fights are the best part for Thanksgiving. Yeah, luckily no arguments or fist fighting went on in the Peete household. Everything was kosher and civil. No, Lane Kiffin pissed down his own leg. I just caught him doing it. And also, not only did he piss down his own leg, he didn't even shake twice before he put it back in his pants. He pissed down his leg and then on his jeans. Oh, man. I don't want to hear any more about Dabo Swinney being the biggest crybaby in football. Lane's taking that. Ryan Day, Lane Kiffin, they both cry more than Dabo Swinney does. What I would really like to see is somebody ask Dabo Swinney about what Lane Kiffin said about Clemson's ranking and hear his response to it. Now, unfortunately, we don't get Dark Dabo like we used to get. Dark Dabo was from about 2011 to 2018, 17 or 18. And after that second national title against Alabama, Dabo Swinney has really cooled off. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I like Dark Dabo. Dark Dabo's hilarious. But these days, he doesn't argue with coaches like he used to. The back and forths back in the day between Dabo Swinney and Steve Spurrier were, I mean, grade A entertainment. Is Caleb DeBoer a crybaby? I don't know. I haven't really... What has he cried about? Is he crying about the ranking too? He should be crying the fact that he got blown off the field by a 5-win Oklahoma team. That's what he should be crying. He should be crying about losing to Vanderbilt. Crying about that too. Who else did they lose to? Oh yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, should be crying about losing to Tennessee. Although Tennessee's not a terrible team. But... oh yeah, Brian Kelly. Yeah, throw him right in the mix too. Yeah, he's a crybaby too. He not only does Brian Kelly cry, but he blames his. He's like Dion. He blames his players for everything instead of taking responsibility for himself. Lane has a tuck pocket in his bathing suit. Boy, he better hope he doesn't lose to Mississippi State. He'll really be crying then. Well, the amount of people that bookmarked my tweet yesterday. If Clemson loses to South Carolina, they're going to come all over Twitter and try to dunk on me. That's why they bookmarked it. So they can try to dunk on me, even though that has literally nothing to do with what I said or with what Lane Kiffin said at all. Any bets today and tomorrow? Not yet. Not yet. I will, though. I'm having a good week so far. I'm way up. Deep fried deviled eggs. Yeah, there's a place called, well, we just had regular deviled eggs here yesterday. Mrs. Pete's mom makes some bomb deviled eggs. But anyway, there's a place here in Somerville called Bad Daddy Burgers. And they have a deep fried deviled egg. It's a deep fried deviled egg with a jalapeno on top. Oh my God. It's so good. I want to hear you guys, like who do you guys think is the biggest chance to get upset today? I guess we could say tomorrow too, but well, tomorrow is probably Clemson because they're favored against South Carolina. A lot of people think South Carolina's going to beat Clemson. I don't see a whole lot of Clemson fans super confident about this game, and then on the flip side of that, I don't really see a whole lot of South Carolina fans that are super confident about them winning either. They might say they are, but that should be one of the better games of the day. You think Miami? Oh yeah, that's another one. Ohio State? No, I don't. I would. That would be an upset there. Michigan's awful. That game's in the shoe too, isn't it? Arizona State, big chance to upset tomorrow. Yours truly will be there. Oh, you're going to the game? We'll have fun. I'm sure that you will. Indiana. No. Don't they play Purdue? No. Stop it. Elf, you're just trolling now. Auburn could upset Alabama. Yeah, look, I'm picking Alabama to win that game, but I definitely would not be shocked if Auburn pulled the upset there. I'd feel more comfortable about it if it were in Auburn and not in Tuscaloosa, but South Carolina is the most overhyped team in the country right now. Clemson steamrolls them. Well, I hope you're right. I don't know if steamrolling is. I mean, Clemson's got some serious problems with the offensive line. They just lost another offensive lineman tore his ACL in practice the other day. They were already thin at offensive line. South Carolina has a legit front seven. They're going to have to figure out some way to get the ball out of Cade's hand quick, fast, and in a hurry. And if Clemson can't run the ball, then they're in some serious trouble. If they are able to run the ball, they have a good chance of winning. It's a big if, though. Put Peete in at offensive guard. They might need me. They might need me. Mayhem Matthews seems to be the most confident person I've seen about Clemson beating South Carolina tomorrow. I'm guessing none of you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go wait outside of Walmart so you can get a 50% off big screen TV. Does anybody do that anymore? I haven't stepped a foot in a single store. Everything we've got is from Amazon or Fanatics. You know. Uh-oh, Slim, you sick? You're not allowed to get sick during the holiday. You're not allowed to get sick during rivalry week either. You got a big game tomorrow to keep yourself in the hunt for the ACC and the playoffs. You're not allowed to be sick. Oh no, strep throat. Another ranked team lost last night. Tulane. Tulane got pushed around and beat bad at home by Memphis. I'm pretty sure rum does not help strep throat. I don't even know what Small Business Saturday is. I mean, I can figure out through context clues, but I didn't know that was a thing, is what I'm saying. Does anybody want to come over and help me put up my Christmas decorations? I'll feed you free beer. Yeah, there's people running around all over the internet besmirching the good name of eggnog. I don't understand it. I think not liking eggnog is like the most un-American thing possible. You know, outside of like joining the Taliban or something. Now, drinking eggnog without bourbon in it, yeah, that's weird. I mean, who would want to drink eggnog by itself? That's just weird. But there's nothing better than a good stiff eggnog drink with bourbon in it. Some ice cubes. Straight eggnog is good. Well, I wouldn't drink it without bourbon in it. I would just drink milk if that's the case. Now, if you drink a bunch of eggnog, you won't shit for a week, but it's worth it. Oh, by the way, usually we do the Scott Kerr fake news segment on Fridays on the Midday Show. Scott Kerr is taking the week off. He's a hard-working man, so he's taking the week off. Eggnog with spiced rum. I'm sure that's good too. That sounds good, but bourbon's better. What's up, Jay? Are you able to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you?
I still cooked yesterday and did everything I'm supposed to. Listen, I'll take my medicine, but I went to work for 2 weeks with bronchitis.
Yeah. What do you get? They got you on what is I was about to say antidepressants, antibiotics.
Yeah. Actually, I just pulled up in the driveway from picking them up.
Okay. I hate antibiotics.
I'm not a fan.
They make you
well, and that's why it's kind of gotten to this point. Like I try home remedies before I go to the doctor.
Battle Angel. She says eggnog is. Do you drink eggnog, Slim?
As long as it has either bourbon or rum in it.
Yeah, just like me. Yeah. Oh, you know what I bet would be good is that Lil Wayne rum with some eggnog. I bet that'd be really good.
Well, you'll get a report on that.
Yeah.
Because I happen to have some of that rum, and I happen to have some eggnog.
I'm gonna have to go get some of that. I'm guessing that Uncle Lou doesn't drink eggnog. He doesn't strike me as the eggnog type. You know.
Something tells me you're right. I don't know it for a fact, but it seems right.
So what'd you do for Thanksgiving? Did you have people over, or did you just you and your family?
Yeah, everybody came over. I mean, I'm not running a fever or anything, so I figure I'll be all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody came over here. That may be the best turkey I've ever cooked.
Would you fry it? Oh no. You did fry it. I saw your post on X. I saw you injected it with. Well, tell us what you did to it.
Well, it had the Cajun butter injection, which I do every year, but this time, and actually I left something off of that. This time I found I wanted to season the outside real good too, so I used Rendezvous seasoning, which is a really popular barbecue restaurant in Memphis, and they sell their seasoning. I did some of it, some Creole, some garlic powder. There's a Buffalo Trace seasoning, so I even tried some of that. And
ooh, how was that?
That did pretty good.
I bet it was.
Yeah, nice little blend of seasonings, and a little thin layer of mustard to bind all the seasoning to the outside.
Yeah. Well,
and it was great.
Sounds good. We cheated a little bit because we had to cook 2 full dinners. We had a dinner from about 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then another one from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. 2 different families, 2 full meals both times. But because of that, we were a little bit constrained with how to cook our turkey. So we bought a couple of turkeys that were already, sliced. No, not sliced. They weren't sliced and they weren't cooked, but it was just like a turkey breast.
Okay.
Cooked that in a crock pot with some butter, with a whole stick of butter. Did 2 of those, and then we got another turkey that was already pre-cooked and seasoned and everything by a local barbecue place here called Swig and Swine. And so all we had to do was I put that in a crock pot with some butter and just to heat it up.
Right.
But we made, green bean casserole, deviled eggs, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce. I know I'm missing some stuff here. But yeah.
We did all that too. Of course, you can't not have cranberry sauce. Stuffing, of course. But my wife, she does. We did a rotisserie chicken for dinner the other night, and there was about half of it left. So half of that rotisserie chicken ended up in the stuffing, which makes it absolutely amazing. I think the winner this year was her green beans, though, because normally we do a green bean casserole, but a couple of months ago she tried this thing. I don't want to say it came out like a soup, but it had a lot of broth in it. But it was green beans, potatoes, diced potatoes.
Like home fries?
No. Like just cut potatoes up into cubes and put it in with the green beans and some beef broth. But also put bacon bits and smoked sausage in with it.
Damn. I'm coming to your house next year for Thanksgiving. Mrs. Peete can handle this over here by herself.
I'm a carnivore, man. We like putting meat in everything.
Yeah, I do too. I spent half the day just cleaning dishes. We had the first Thanksgiving. I had to turn around and wash all those dishes so we could reuse them for the second Thanksgiving, and then of course had to clean those up. It was a lot, but also obviously some beer and for the morning Thanksgiving we enjoyed some. My sister-in-law brought over some sort of variety pack of like champagne, like small champagne, not a full-size bottle, almost like a half-size bottle. There was like 5 or 6 different bottles, and they were all different flavors, like cranberry, blackberry, cherry, all these different flavors. So we made some mimosas in the morning, and then at nighttime we drank beer and wine. No liquor for Pete yesterday. I had to be on my game. I couldn't get shit-faced. So unfortunately,
I've never done champagne. I've always heard it's an acquired taste.
I mean, you if you like wine, it's like that, but a little bit different.
I mean, my wife's a much bigger wino than me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got no hate for wine.
Yeah, I drank some good red wine last night from, a couple of them. There was one from Argentina, Cabernet, and then another one from, I forget where it was. Somewhere in Europe. I don't know. But
my wife tends to go after a sweet red.
Yeah. But mimosas are good though. You can't drink. You can't when it comes to champagne. You can't just sit there and sip on it all night like you can on regular wine. Well, if you do, you'll be hammered, and you'll also get sick because of all the carbonation in it. It's extreme. I mean, it's like take like the average soda, like a Coca-Cola, times 3 carbonation for champagne. I mean, it's like they call it the bubbly for a reason. I mean, it's you can't take 2 sips without burping. But yeah, you just take some champagne and mix either, whatever kind of juice you like. It could be a little bit of splash of orange juice. It could be a splash of like pineapple juice. Some people like different kinds, but it's good. But I'll have like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's sweet. It's too sweet. But women love it though.
I tend to do that with vodka, whether it's pineapple juice or cranberry juice.
Yeah. So are you excited about the game tomorrow? I'm sure you are.
Very much so. I'm ready to put the end of the season to bed. First 11-win season since 2002, and measle our little way onto the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think that's what will happen. What do you think about Lane Kiffin crying about Miami and Clemson and SMU being ranked ahead of Ole Miss and Alabama?
I've said the same thing as you, whether it's on here or whether it's on X. Stop losing to bad teams. Honestly, and this year, I've never even made the claim that the SEC is not the best conference. All I've ever said to that effect is there's not as cavernous of a gap as some people try and make it out to be.
Yeah, right.
And this year, I think you can make the claim, because it seems pretty evident to me, that those gaps have completely disappeared.
Well, I don't think he really thought that through before he went on his little crying rant, because he's of the opinion that if the ACC played his schedule, that they would be 500. That's his words, not mine. Which is just insane.
Yes, it is insane.
Clemson last year played Kentucky in a bowl game. A Kentucky team that's 10 times better than this year's Kentucky team. Who won the game? And Clemson was not very good last year. They were an 8-win ACC team.
Yeah.
He lost to a 4-win Kentucky team in Ole Miss, lost to a 5-win Florida team, and he lost to LSU, who's they're not terrible, but they're average at best. I mean, we're talking about an LSU team where the fans are ready to run their coach out on a rail. Lost to them.
Uncontroversial opinion. You want to start comparing losses? Duke is a better 3-loss team than both Ole Miss and Alabama.
Yeah. Then He's talking about the ACC would go 500. Well, we have a direct comparison here. Miami, the ACC team, went into the swamp and dog walked Florida, and they lost to them.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, too, that I can't believe more people aren't. I pointed it out in my tweet. But Ole Miss out-of-conference schedule is an absolute joke. They have 8 wins right now.
It's very akin to Michigan's from last year.
Yeah, they have 8 wins right now. They're 8-3. Now, they have a great win, so I'll give them that. That's the only reason they're even in the top 15 right now is because they beat Georgia. But outside of that, half of their wins, Slim, are against nobodies. They don't even attempt to try to schedule anybody with a pulse out of conference. And then he wonders why they're ranked where they're ranked.
Well, I mean, to his point, it didn't affect Michigan last year, which is just more.
Yeah, but Michigan didn't have 3 losses to bad teams.
No, they didn't. Which all I was going to say to that effect was it's just more evidence that the only thing the committee is consistent about is that they're completely inconsistent.
And Nick Saban's been all over game day all year, and he's still doing it now. I think he was on Paul Feinbaum the other day, or one of these. No, Pat McAfee or somebody.
Pat McAfee.
McAfee.
I saw that.
All these conferences aren't created equal. He thinks that they should just put 8 or 9 SEC teams in just because they're in the SEC, and wins and losses don't matter. Right? Who you schedule out of conference doesn't matter because SEC.
Pretty much.
It's ridiculous. And he didn't just throw the ACC under the bus. He threw the Big 12 under the bus, too.
Well, and here's the thing to go along with that, because I pointed this out ad nauseum last season, that the ACC had a winning record head-to-head against both the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah.
Guess what did decide to repeat itself? The ACC has a winning record against the Big Ten and is only 1 game down on the SEC.
Yeah, of course.
Now, interesting stat, and I reposted this on Twitter. The SEC, what did they say it was? It was either 2-5 or 2-8 against non-con teams that were bowl eligible.
Yeah, it's just this guy wanted to argue with me on Twitter yesterday about, well, it's an unfair comparison between Miami and Ole Miss when it comes to Florida because Florida's playing better football now than they were week 1. Okay, that's true. But then he goes on to tell me that Clemson getting blown out by Georgia means that Clemson's no good. I go, well, hold on now. You just got done telling me that teams can get better throughout the year. So you're telling me that Florida can get better, but Clemson can't?
Rules for me.
Yeah, rules for me. Anything to fit their narrative is all that matters to them.
And I'll lay down a simple challenge. Name me the SEC team that would be a double-digit favorite tomorrow over Miami. There isn't one.
No.
Or Clemson.
Right. If Clemson and Georgia played this week, I still think Georgia's better than Clemson. I'm not claiming anything. But does anybody think that they would get blown out like they did in week 1? No.
Well, no, because to the point you just made, not only is Clemson playing better football than at the beginning of the year, Georgia's playing worse football.
Yeah, I don't know. Georgia's I still think they're one of the best 3 teams in the country.
I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah, but you're right. They're definitely inconsistent. I mean, that's the other thing too. So the Ole Miss win against Georgia was impressive. But does anybody, if they played tomorrow, who would be favored in the game? Ole Miss or Georgia? Georgia would be favored.
Georgia.
Of course. Yeah. And they'd probably beat them.
Because I mean, you talk about Kentucky, Ole Miss lost to them. Georgia beat them by what, a point?
Yeah. Oh.
Arkansas is middle of the road in the SEC. Because, it's just the way, with no divisions, you've got 3-way ties for 6th place and, 9th place and all that shit. Arkansas is in the middle of the SEC. They lost to literally the worst Pac-12 team, or Big 12 team, excuse me.
Yeah.
Last time I looked at it, Oklahoma State was winless in conference, and Arkansas lost to them.
And they do the same thing with Auburn, too. They go, because Auburn beat A&M. And A&M, is one win away from playing in the SEC championship. They go, well, Auburn's not the same team that lost to Cal. Cal's terrible. I mean, Cal went into Auburn and beat them. A lower level ACC team in Cal went into Auburn and beat them.
I'll give the SEC their credit for the run they've been on. It's been a pretty decent, I'd say about 20-year run. It started with, Urban Meyer at Florida.
Yeah.
But 80s, 90s, you occasionally had an SEC team pop up, but it was about other conferences. SEC was an afterthought. And I don't think SEC fans like the fact that the narrative this offseason is going to be Nick Saban and Alabama prop that conference up. And now they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, Alabama's another one. They lose to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's not awful, right? This is the best season they've had in God knows how long. But they're still a 6-win team. They lost to them. They got blown out by Oklahoma.
They're still not a James Franklin good Vanderbilt team. He won 9 games.
Yeah. And then they bring up Clemson losing to Louisville. This is Ole Miss fans now doing this. Hey, guess what? Guess who's favored against Kentucky tomorrow? In Kentucky. Louisville. The same Kentucky that beat Ole Miss in Oxford.
Right. Well, last time I checked, Louisville's a top 15 offense, top 12 offense in the nation.
Yeah.
Like, putting up points is not Louisville's problem.
The ACC is about to be won by a team that was a group of 5 team last year. First of all, SMU, they do have a good team. First of all, they haven't won the ACC yet. That's number one. Number two is they've dodged they dodged the top 3 teams in the ACC in the regular season. Talk about an easy schedule in the ACC. They might have the easiest, right up there with Syracuse.
Yeah, well, and them and Notre Dame have managed to dodge a lot over the years too.
Yeah. While we're talking about morons, how about this idiot Tom Luganbill? Jesus Christ, this guy, he might be dumber than Lane Kiffin.
Well, I didn't see Tom Luganbill.
He made a list of the top 8 quarterbacks in the ACC. Guess who was 7th on his list?
Did he have Cade at 7th?
He had Cade Klubnik at 7th in the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Cade Klubnik is 5th in the odds for the Heisman. Forget the ACC.
Yeah, well, I got told the only reason Cam Ward is in the Heisman talk is because he's in the ACC.
He had Cal's quarterback ahead of Cade Klubnik. He had Georgia Tech's quarterback ahead of Cade Klubnik. Syracuse quarterback ahead of Cade Klubnik. Who else?
To be clear, which Georgia Tech quarterback? Because they've been doing the Hokies.
Haynes King. Oh, and listen to this. Not only did he have Haynes King ahead of Cade Klubnik, he had the backup, whoever that other guy. What's that guy's name? The other guy that plays for him.
Oh, Pyron.
Yeah, he had them 8. He had 2 both of Georgia Tech's quarterbacks in the top 8. Both of them. Now, I think that he went to Georgia Tech. He's a Georgia Tech grad, I think.
Oh, okay.
But it's still the silliest list ever. The list goes like this: Cam Ward, Cade Klubnik, Kyle McCord. That's the top 3. That's it. After that, it's a hodgepodge.
I would agree with that.
Oh.
I mean, Haynes King hasn't been able to throw a pass in 4 weeks.
Depends on which Cade shows up. Well, he's been consistently good all year. I don't know. I mean, he's got 30 touchdowns and 4 turnovers and over 3,000 yards. I mean, I don't really...
Yeah, it's not which Cade shows up. It's which Clemson wide receiving corps shows up. Which Clemson offensive line shows up.
Yeah, it's not the receivers either. They're okay at receiver. It's definitely the offensive line. is the real main glaring problem.
Well, I did notice a game or two where drops by the wide receiver core were a problem.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I throw them in there.
Also, the mismanagement of the running back position at Clemson, and I don't want to criticize Riley too much for this because Maffa is extremely experienced. He's a good running back, but they've used him and only him all year, and he's now feeling the brunt of that. With these nagging shoulder injuries and whatnot, he's banged up. Been banged up for the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, not only that, but I've made the same criticism about Miami's offense. When you're only running the ball 8 times and a half, number one, that's not smart football. That's not a recipe for winning football. But especially when you have a guy like Maffa, and we don't have that single guy at Miami, at least early on in the year we didn't. I think Martinez has kind of become the Martinez we expected, but I mean, when you have the running back room that Miami does, I get you're trying to get Cam Ward the Heisman, but you have to keep the defense honest.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm critical of the way they use Maffa, first of all, he's a good running back, but he's a one-trick pony. They try to make him be a type of running back that he's not. He's a between the tackles bruiser. He's a big guy. He's strong. He can run downhill. That's what he is. They want to use him throwing these screen passes on the outside, and shit never works. Meanwhile, we got a couple of guys behind him that are, or a different type of back that really never saw the field except for a few carries and trash time against fucking FCS teams, So that begs the question. I mean, Moffa's gone after there. He's out of eligibility. So we don't know who the guy. We guess it's going to be Haynes. He had a huge game last week, albeit against the Citadel. I mean, he had like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns or something. But he's the speed back. There's really zero excuse for them not trying to use him to keep.
No, there isn't. I mean, you should, to me, Miami's game plan against Wake Forest with the run game was about as perfect as you can get. They spent 2.5, 3 quarters wearing Wake Forest down with 2 230-pound running backs. And then you saw what happened, end of the third, into the fourth. They swap in Jordan Lyle, the true freshman, and he's busting off 17 yards a carry because, I mean, they're just gassed at that point.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how they do the running backs tomorrow. I'm sure, and he should. Phil Moffa is going to get the brunt of the carries, but I'll be a little bit upset if they don't at least play Haynes in some certain situations.
That's something I do. I have to give Mario credit. Running back by committee, he's consistently done that since he's been there. And it's, whoever's got the hot hand in practice that week is the guy who's, getting the start or getting the bulk of the carries.
Yeah. Vandy Dandy, he's talking about you saw that their quarterback, Pavia, was suing Vanderbilt, right? Is he suing?
No, I didn't.
Who's he suing? The NCAA? He's suing somebody about he wants one more year of eligibility. Now, the last thing I read was that already got struck down, that he wasn't even able to bring a case against him. Am I wrong about that? He's claiming that Diego Pavia's online classes, if he wins his lawsuit, gets another year of eligibility. I thought that already got struck down.
I mean,
I might be wrong.
The opinion at this point, everybody should get an extra year of eligibility because, not even talking about the Cam McCormicks of the world that the guy that followed Mario over that's in his 9th year. Oregon surgeons botched his surgery, so it is what it is. But last year you had a North Carolina lineman on his 7th year. You've got, we're still littered with guys 6, 7, 8 years of eligibility. The Utah quarterback is coming back next year. I mean, that dude's about to become a grandpa.
Well, he's in a similar situation as what that tight end for Miami went through. He's in his 8th year too, right?
Yeah, next year will be his 8th year.
Yeah. Oh, he's playing next year too?
Yeah, he's coming back.
God damn! I thought this is his last year.
No. No, under occupation on his resume, a college football player.
I mean, he went through like 4 surgeries and missed. Yeah, I see. I don't have any problem with that situation. I don't really know what Pavia's argument is for getting another year.
Well, it doesn't get talked about, but it's actually really common with like kickers.
Yeah. Also, if you're Pavia, and I haven't really sat down and looked at this quarterback class for the NFL and made a determination on this, but do you think it would benefit him to come back another year, or maybe just right now he's hot? In other words, if he were just to enter the draft this year, would he have a better chance of moving up in the draft board next year than he would this year? I don't think so.
I mean, I haven't looked to see what next year's draft class would be as far as quarterbacks, but I don't see it being worse than this one.
Well, Vandy Dandy says he can't play in the NFL. You mean he can't or he's not going to? That's 2 different things. But if he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to play in the NFL anyway, I want to play one more year of college football, that's different. But if he's planning on trying to enter his name in the draft, then I don't see any better time than now. His name's hotter than it's probably ever going to be. But, and I agree with you.
Outside of, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, it's anybody's guess what quarterbacks go win after that.
Right. Yeah, I think so too.
Because Quinn Ewers is gone, but I mean he hasn't gone through a season where he stayed healthy all year.
Where are my NFL people at? Who's the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft? Like projected top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. You got Ward. You've obviously got Sanders.
Quinn Ewers, Carson
Beck. Carson Beck can come back another year, can
he? He can, yeah.
And I think
and it might actually behoove him to.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Especially since he's getting paid massive amounts of money by Georgia.
Yeah. That's the thing. What you're going to start to see, in my opinion, more and more often is, especially quarterbacks, like unless you're projected in the first 2 rounds, you're going to make more money in college.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What about Kyle McCord? Is he have another year left?
This is only his. He should still have 2 years of eligibility.
Okay, I thought he was at Ohio State for like. I thought
he was a redshirt freshman starting last year, so he redshirted his first year.
Okay, so all right, so this is only his 2nd year then.
Yeah.
All right.
So he could go, but I think he's somebody else. It would behoove him to come back.
Yeah. What about the Oregon quarterback? What's his status?
Yes, Dylan Gabriel is. Well, I think Dylan Gabriel screwed himself. Dylan Gabriel, yes, he's talented. Yes, he's got numbers, but Dylan Gabriel's also on his 4th school.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out of eligibility, but I think he's also screwed himself.
I guess it would depend on what they do for the remainder of this season. If they go on to win it all and he looks good doing it, that'll raise his stock a little bit. But
well, here's my problem with him. He's 5'6", 5'8", and he doesn't have the athleticism that Kyler Murray does. Kyler Murray can kind of get away with it because of how much of a freak athlete he is.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel doesn't have that, and he's a tad bit shorter.
Right. Yeah, not the greatest class outside of the top 2 or 3. Quarterback-wise.
And I mean, we say that, but at the same time, how good is Shedeur going to be in college? I mean, in the NFL.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't know with anybody, but if everyone else is getting 6 or 7 years, then Pavia should get another year. Yeah, but the people who are getting 6 and 7 years is for a reason, though. It's not just because they want to play another year. You have to have a reason. Most of the time, it's a medical reason. Again, I don't know his situation, so I'm not saying he shouldn't or should. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But we got some games coming on here in about 10 minutes. Do you think that Colorado folds like a lawn chair, or they go out there and dominate a bad Oklahoma State team?
They should beat Oklahoma State.
They're favored by a lot.
Yeah. Well, we talked about them earlier. They're winless in the Big 12. They can still manage to beat SEC teams.
Speaking of SEC teams, Octavian, thank you for making Lane Kiffin cry.
Yeah, we're going to make him cry. And the Miami man's going to cry tomorrow when Syracuse tear down a goalpost on them and end their...
Here we go. Here we go.
Guess what? We can lose that game. That doesn't make us out of the playoffs. And actually, I don't think we are. I don't think we'll drop 7 spots and be out.
I think y'all be out in the playoffs. And Clemson is going to open up the door for Clemson, and Clemson's going to make the playoffs after this defense of Syracuse.
Well, I think no matter who plays SMU in the ACC title game, SMU is probably going to lose. Like, we've talked about it all throughout the year. SMU. I mean, people talk about Miami. SMU should have 3 or 4 losses.
Yeah, they've escaped some close ones against also bad teams. But boy, I forgot to mention this in my video. I just completely forgot. Imagine how hard Lane Kiffin's going to cry if Clemson beats South Carolina, doesn't even make it to the ACC championship, and still makes it in the playoffs. He's going to be real mad.
Oh, he's going to be down bad.
He's going to lose to Mississippi State later on today.
Yeah, Egg Bowl at 3:30. Boy, he better hope he goes out there and dominates. Or he's going to get drugged through the mud by yours truly and everybody else on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and listen, Nick Saban's going to have plenty coming if Auburn upsets Alabama.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why anybody's surprised about this. I've said it for years on here, on Lou's show and everywhere else. When you have a first-year head coach, the tendency is, and this is all across America, not just Alabama, that you have a worse record than you did the year before.
Robert says Ole Miss had a kind of disappointing season. Yeah, and look, here's the thing, too. They're not a bad team. Nobody ever said that. They're kind of overachieving, but Lane Kiffin wants to pretend like Ole Miss is somehow one of the elite teams in the country. They're not. They have done nothing to be in that conversation at all.
Well, you have a lot of teams in the SEC that are that way. It's less, and I've stood on this for a long time too. It's less that the SEC is just much more dominant than any other conference. They just have more brand names in the conference than any other conference, even before adding Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up too. TRS Sports Talk with the Rooster. Is that you, Rooster? Rooster, you change your names more often than Prince.
That's the Rooster man.
Every time I turn around, he's got a new YouTube channel name. But yeah, he's right. He's talking about the fake injuries. Yeah, once they crack down on the fake injuries, Ole Miss can't win a football game. Imagine that.
Well, and here's the thing. I never claimed to be a smart individual, and I'm certainly not a football coach. But wouldn't it be much easier if you're trying to slow down the pace of the game with fake injuries to just not get up off the ground?
Yeah, instead of just falling for no reason?
Yeah, instead of it being blatantly obvious that you're telling somebody to fall down.
Yeah. How are they combating that? Are they threatening fines or something?
Yeah, they're threatening it, but here's my thing. And I don't like faking injuries any more than anybody else. But does any of us really want a conference commissioner determining what is or isn't an injury?
Yeah, because it's also they claim when it comes to targeting that they can't judge intent. Well, but they can on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of a slippery slope when you start judging whether or not somebody is really injured or not. I mean, also, how do you prove somebody didn't get a cramp in their calf or whatever?
You can.
And that's 9. Go ahead, Octavian.
Go ahead.
I'll say 9 times out of 10, that's what the fake injury is a cramp, because then that gives you a good 30 or 40 seconds for the medical staff to come out there and rub your leg for 30 seconds, and then you get up and run off the field like nothing happened.
Now, I've heard some theories on this, and I'm not sure if I quite agree with them, but I think they're on the right track. If you go down, like some people have said, well, you need to sit out the rest of the series. I'm not necessarily with sitting out the rest of the series because I don't think a cramp is worthy of it. But to say you have to sit out, say, five plays, okay.
Yeah, and Rooster's right too. He says even if you make him sit out the next series, it still won't completely stop him from doing it, especially if it's a player who's more expendable, right? Like not a dominant player. They can afford to have him sit out. Might be worth it. No, I don't know. You're never going to take it out of the game completely. It's just impossible.
No.
And honestly, all teams probably do it to some degree. Some teams just do it more than others. Now, the Ole Miss situation was obvious. Like they were doing it to extreme. They took it to an extreme measure. But I think that pretty much every team at some point has done that. Nobody's completely clean when it comes to that.
Tennessee does it all the time.
Yeah, he said that Tennessee just got hit a couple of weeks ago for it. I guess they got fined. I don't know.
Tennessee got fined for it. It's always after the extra, like not after the extra, after they score a touchdown. I think it's one of the snappers that he just falls down. Have you ever watched a Tennessee game and they score? You make sure you watch the center after they score. He always falls, and they always take a long time to kick the field goal. That's why it takes so long for them to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have guys ice kicker, call a timeout there before the field goal.
I don't know. Clemson can't kick a field goal anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Rivalry week is already started. The Gator fans and the Seminoles fans are already getting into it here. It's getting very hostile out to this weekend.
Oh, that's going to be a beatdown. Florida's going to beat the shit out of Florida State.
Yeah, the beatdown is already started outside here in the parking lot here. My first plug is already started.
Y'all better win. Otherwise, we will see the biggest turnaround of a fan base that wants to keep the coach, and they'll be ready to fire him again.
Yeah.
That'll be the fastest turnaround in history.
Don't worry about that, Snow Shader kids. We're going to beat Florida State. And when we beat Miami week 2 next year, we'll have your coach getting fired next year.
12-Foot Ninja wants to know, are the Deons sending Gundy into retirement? No. They're not firing Gundy.
Gundy may retire. That wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world.
I'd be shocked. Well, why would he? If he's smart, he'll make him fire. It's sort of like Mac Brown did.
I'm 40.
Fire me. I dare you.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah. I don't think they will fire him, though.
Well, Slim Shady Kansas gone.
Yeah, he dropped. He probably lost his phone. He lost his phone connection.
Yeah, probably lost phone connection. It's the SEC and the ACC connection now.
There he is.
Sorry, I was saying that 40-year-old man is knocking on 60 now, so.
I don't know about 60, but wait, how long is it? How old is he? He's like Dabo's age.
Dude, that was pushing 20 years ago.
Was it really?
Yeah. Yes.
God.
That was 2007.
Hey, that makes you feel old there, Pete?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think that was 07.
So he's in his late 50s then. You're right.
Sister Russo, I want to ask. Sister Russo, I really want to ask you this question. South Carolina, I want to know how do South Carolina win this football game? I really want to know. I'm intrigued to find out. I'm really intrigued to get a South Carolina's perspective of how they're going to win this game.
I mean, their defense is better than Clemson's this year.
Yeah, they're going to win it. If they're going to win it, they're going to get some turnovers and give Kate Klubnik and the Clemson offense hell. That's how they're going to win it. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the country in turnover margin. So
I can see that, but I don't see them scoring. I can see Clemson shutting them down. It's going to be like a 17-10 victory or something like that. It's going to be a defensive game.
yeah, if I'm Dabo Swinney and Garrett Riley, I am. The key to this game for Clemson is not to turn the ball over. That's it. And also, if it comes down to a field goal to win or something, forget about it. Clemson can't fucking kick a field goal to save their life.
Why do y'all don't have good kickers, man?
Well, it's not even they've got 7 blocked field goals this year. They lead the country in blocked field goals or having field goals blocked. So it's a combination of the offensive line, and some of it is on the kicker. He kicks these low kicks, and so these teams know he kicks it low. So they just they crowd the line and jump up in the air all at the same time, and one of them's going to get a hand on it. So
man, like Clemson never has an elite kicker, man. Y'all got to get you a kicker, man.
I don't know. Last year was last year we went and got some guy, off his couch to come kick. And he actually did pretty good. But they've had some pretty decent, like during their national championship years, they had some elite kickers. But ever since, for like the last 5 years, they've been pretty bad. Now the kicker they got this year, he's a true freshman, and he was one of the best kickers in the country. I think he might have been the number 1 rated field goal kicker in the country coming out of high school. But again, the offensive line can't block for shit, so they kind of put him behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people are all about the transfer portal. I would go after if you're in need of a kicker, and Miami might be. But I'd be going after that South Florida kicker.
Yeah, he's pretty good. The Grammatica kicker?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's Grammatica's like grandson or something?
No, it's Martin Grammatica's son.
Oh, it's his son. Damn, I thought he was older than that. I thought he was old enough to have grandkids.
I think he waited till later in life to have kids.
Or did he like marry some 25-year-old when he was 50 and get her knocked up or something?
Right, probably.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna get y'all thoughts on Florida State, man, because it's gonna be. I just don't know, man. It's very bad out here. They losing the recruits. They losing players off the team, players quitting off the team, players on Instagram saying they saying this team is horrible. I've never seen that. I've never seen Florida State this bad.
Did y'all see they're celebrating on Twitter yesterday because they got a commitment from a 3-star JUCO quarterback?
Yeah,
was it a quarterback? I thought it was a wide receiver.
Oh, is it a wide receiver? Okay, maybe it is. I don't know.
Now they glad they think they're getting C.J. Bailey from NC State.
Dang. Well, I don't know. I thought they were riding with this Russian guy.
They just got a guy from Oklahoma.
They're the Kamahawk Tour guy.
If this was so down bad.
Who knows? Who knows, man? To his point, I've never seen Florida State this bad in my life.
I haven't either.
And I'm older than both of y'all. I wonder what.
Maybe they're gonna go out to the graveyard and do a voodoo dance and fucking resurrect Bobby Bowden.
I was about to say, has anybody visited the retirement home to interview Bobby Bowden about how bad Florida State is? I'd like to hear what he thinks.
You know he's dead, right?
Yeah. Well, they could do a seance then, a Ouija board and that.
No, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
See if we can at least bring his head back to life.
FSU ain't winning. FSU ain't winning this weekend, buddy.
Damn, is it a coincidence that Florida State's program died whenever Bobby Bowden did? Damn.
I mean, you might be on to something.
Yeah, they buried the glory days along with him.
Because don't forget, when the memorial game for Bobby Bowden was when they lost to Jacksonville State.
Yeah. Damn.
Wow.
Hey,
That's when they had renamed it to, because that was obviously a home game because it was Jacksonville State. That was the game where they had renamed it to Bobby Bowden Field.
Maybe the spirit of Bobby Bowden is punishing Florida State for pushing him out.
Sir, they renamed that field like in 04. And actually, they renamed it. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said something about that. They renamed it the game that Ron Zook got fired, the Bobby Bowden Field. And every time the Florida fans come up there, we call it Ron Zook Field because Ron Zook beat FSU his last game at FSU. So that's Bobby Bowden Field / Ron Zook Field in Tallahassee.
Y'all can't see what's going on.
Ron Zook never beat.
Okay.
Ron Zook did beat him.
He never beat Miami. Neither did Steve Spurrier when he was in Florida. Steve Spurrier had to go to South Carolina to beat Miami.
Here we go. Look here, Miami, man. Next year's y'all year, man. Y'all got lucky this year.
Got lucky. It was 41-17. What are you talking about?
It's okay, man. Look, next year, when we come down to South Florida and run y'all 10 fans out the stands, I don't want to hear it. Y'all don't have no quarterback and no nothing, no team next year. No team, no Cam Wharton.
Stop it.
You stop it, man. The Gators is going to chop y'all up this next year, man.
Florida's not one of the games that we would have lost if we didn't have Cam Ward this year. It just isn't. Would we have maybe lost the Cal game if we didn't have Cam Ward? Yeah, probably. Would we have maybe lost the Virginia Tech game? Florida game is not on that list.
No, we just let the game get out of hand. But next year, it's going to be we got to flip the script on y'all. Instead of y'all winning 41-17, we're going to win 41. No, we're going to make it 51-17 next year.
Oh, okay. It sounds good.
It does sound good.
But let's not forget that every year they've been there, Mario's out-recruited Billy, and that's not going to change this year.
Yeah.
Like, you can focus on the transfers all you want, but that man hasn't had outside of a top 10 class since he's been there.
Who's our quarterback next year? Who is our quarterback going to be? Emily Williams?
Maybe, unless they go after another transfer.
Yeah, I don't.
You got Vanilla Ward at Washington State this year. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, buddy.
Y'all can see what's going on in front of me the whole time during this show. I got my phone up so I could read the chat, and every 2 seconds, I get a notification from somebody in my commenting on the video I posted this morning. It's crying about the ACC. Also, look at this. This is a W thumbnail right here. Wait, where is it? That's a W thumbnail right there. Boy.
Wow.
I don't know who cries more, Lane Kiffin or the SEC homers.
Oh, it's the SEC homers by far because they span the entire SEC.
Yeah.
Now, the loudest ones are always the bottom feeders of the SEC, go figure.
Of course. Or the middle, the middle of the pack like Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, when it comes to Alabama, I'm not at all surprised how the season's going. It wouldn't surprise me if they're in give-up mode and they lose to Auburn. Like, my questions for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer were not this year. My questions for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer are 2027. What do they look like then?
Pete's Herbicide says we cry about the SEC on every midday show. No, we laugh at about you crying about everything.
Wow. When I just got a question, and when was the last year, in the years the ACC has beaten all the SEC teams? When was that, sir?
Well, I don't think it's ever going to clean sweep in either direction.
I don't think so either. I think the SEC is dominated the SEC. I mean, the ACC has, the SEC has dominated the ACC in years and years. There's only been a kind of let's probably say you could say 18 and 16 that they dominated the SEC. But other than that, the SEC, y'all don't know how to play. Y'all don't know how to play football, man. Y'all really don't.
Right.
What?
The SEC, if you want to play big time grown man football, you want to hit and get developed by the best coaches in the best schools, you come to the SEC. And let's play big. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking.
Wait a minute. Best coaches and best schools. Billy Napier's not on any of those lists. Bob Stoops is not on any of those lists.
Bob Stoops,
Lane Kiffin is not on any of those lists.
You do realize that the ACC has 3 national championships in the past 10 years, don't you?
Yeah, it's won by Clemson in Florida State.
Yeah.
Not by Miami.
Well, Clemson and Florida State are in the ACC last time I checked. So for such a terrible conference, they shouldn't have a third of the national titles in the past decade.
Like, I'm not knocking the ACC.
You just said that they don't play big boy football, but you're not knocking them.
They're not middle of the pack teams and bottom feed teams is not relevant.
Every conference has bottom feeders, sir. And by the way, this is the thing about the this is the reason we laugh at you guys, because there's nothing we could say other than the fucking SEC is the NFL that will please y'all. We could say we still think they're the best conference in football, but that's not good enough. Nothing's ever good enough.
I can honestly say this. I would take my bottom feed in Mississippi State or Kentucky and put them up against Wake Forest, and they will blow out Wake Forest 46-17. That's just facts.
What will you say now? Say that again.
Well, no, it's not facts, because Mississippi State couldn't do that to an FCS team. We've already seen it.
I could put Kentucky and Mississippi State up against Wake Forest and whoever, or like Duke or somebody, and they'll beat up on them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about Duke this year, but how come Auburn couldn't beat up on Cal? How come they lost to Cal and Auburn? Why did that happen?
Auburn just had a bad game.
Oh, so it's just a bad game when the SEC loses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, same shit, different day.
Yeah, if SEC's just that good, why did Florida get run out of their own home stadium?
Sir, we had a bad game that day. We wasn't prepared. I admit, we wasn't prepared. We thought we was a little too cocky.
You're trying to understand why most of the show anymore is a bunch of ACC guys talking about the SEC. Well, this isn't an ACC channel. This is a football channel. So we talk about the Big Ten, we talk about the SEC, we talk about the ACC, we talk about the Big 12. I don't know why that's so hard for you to understand.
Pretty sure we were talking about Colorado a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Colorado's going to win the Big 12.
I think you're drinking some of that herbicide, buddy.
No, I'm serious.
They might, but my money right now is on Arizona State.
See, even Smith said he can't give him a fighting chance.
Yeah, I would probably pick Arizona State too. Right now.
I don't trust him.
They're playing good ball right now.
Yeah, they're playing good ball, but I don't trust him.
Now, I don't really think, honestly, whoever gets in from the Big 12, I don't really think that the Big 12 is going to win the national title. Anybody from the Big 12, no matter if Arizona State or Iowa State or whoever, but I mean, I think the best 4 teams in the country all come from the Big Ten and the SEC right now, and then Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Like the top two teams in the Big Ten, the top two teams in the SEC, and Miami, I think, would all dog walk whoever wins the Big 12. That's just my opinion.
More likely.
And probably Clemson. I think Clemson would probably dog walk Arizona State too, or at least beat them.
Beat them bad.
Well, and I said this when all this conference realignment was going on. Like, people were acting like the Big 12 was in a good place, adding all these Group of 5 teams. They're really not.
Yeah, I agree with Rooster. He says, I think Clemson would have the same record as South Carolina if they played the same schedule this year. They're pretty even teams. Yeah, I think they're pretty even too. I mean, they both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses, but I think they're pretty even. And that, well, the line reflects that on tomorrow's game, because the most unbiased body when it comes to picking teams is Las Vegas. They don't care about conference bias or anything like that. When it comes to line makers, they're looking at these teams individually. They don't care about what logo you got on your jersey at all. Now, sometimes they're wrong, but I mean, I'd say that the hit rate on the Vegas odds makers is probably over 80%.
I mean, they don't keep building new casinos for no reason.
Right. Yeah, they know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. Oh. Anyway, I'm going to shut it down early today. Like I said, I got to go put up Christmas decorations. It's going to take me all fucking day. So, I'm going to go ahead and shut it.
Boss, I just live in it.
Yeah. Go ahead and shut it down, and let's enjoy.
I was going to sign off. Go Gators and the fuck FSU. And Clemson, please beat South Carolina. I need y'all to win, so I won't have to hear the Gamecock Nation next week.
Yeah. All right. Right now, it's 7-0 Colorado over Oklahoma State. I guess Colorado got the ball first and went right down and scored. So they come out to a lead early. All right, Slim, thanks for coming on, buddy. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, I'm working on it, buddy.
Yeah. Get you some of that Lil Wayne rum. Take a swig every once in a while.
So just, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, this coffee's helping. I'm going to get this coffee in me, and yeah, that's next on the list.
All right. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Good luck tomorrow against Syracuse.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, well, that's going to do it for me as well. Everybody enjoy your Black Friday if you got the day off. That's a plus. And enjoy a great weekend of football coming up. I have no doubt that there's going to be some great games both today and tomorrow. Probably the best week of the year, of the regular season anyway, in the sport. So enjoy yourselves. I hope all your teams win except South Carolina. Have a great day.